Hello, welcome back to Horizons Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we're going to continue on with Suzerain 2.0. So, last time out, we increased some corporate taxes, we fired some incompetents at the SSC, as well as visited the Torn Hill School over here in Laren. So, let's see, it looks like we have two newspapers, so let's go and check those out. Alright, from Lockhaven Times, Presidential Generosity. President Anton Rain's recent personal donation to the Alfonso Foundation has elicited a mixed response from the public. While supporters laud the move as an endorsement of the Foundation's efforts to tackle homelessness and income inequality, critics question the president's motivations. Detractors have pointed out the links between the Alfonso Foundation and former President Evo Alfonso, suggesting that the donation may be politically motivated. I don't know if you really need to point out the links, it's literally named after him, but that's alright. And from the Radical, charity or camouflage, President's donation scrutinized. With a trail of socioeconomic discrepancies strewn over his tenure, former President Alfonso might think that the establishment of the Alfonso Foundation is sufficient to absolve him of his past transgressions. However, this recently received presidential seal of approval via a hefty donation does little more than highlight the ongoing stratification of wealth in Swordland. President Anton Rain's small contribution to the Foundation is nothing short of a misdirected resource allocation, acting as a smokescreen for the glaring income inequality brought about by the economic liberalization policies of Alfonsonomics. This attempt to brush over systemic issues with charitable acts is perceived as nothing more than a classic case of millionaire power play. Cool, I wonder if I made the wrong move there. Well, whatever. Can't do anything about it now. Alright, so let's head to Laren to continue our meeting with Ciara about education reform. We're still in Laren, staying in a modest guest house for state employees. Sarah set up a meeting with me and Lucian to go over her plans for education reform after our school visit. Lucian was seated across from me at the table, going through documents. Sarah entered the room. After this yesterday, I couldn't even sleep thinking about that little boy and girl. I've never been more sure of my intentions to reform our education system. Lucian took off his reading glasses and put them on the table. I agree, an educational reform is necessary. Exactly. Those students have to repeat the same soulless propaganda every single day. They're being brainwashed at an age when their mind needs to speak free. On top of that, young girls are denied the same opportunities as boys. They're forced into their old housework before they reach puberty. Nothing's changed since I went to school. Women like me, and Lilius, Nia, even your wife, we had to study twice as hard to receive the same university education that you and Lucian took for granted. Is that the kind of country you want your daughter to grow up in? Mr. President, we need to bring change. We need to free the minds of these young people. They are our future. Very well. What do we need to do for an education reform? I already agreed with you, so let's just get on with it. We need to keep politics out of the curriculum. Sol should only be viewed as a historical figure. Children shouldn't have to repeat his name every day. It is actively poisoning young, bright minds. Instead of thinking for themselves, they're learning to take things at face value. We also need to ensure boys and girls receive the same education. Handcrafts like knitting and sewing should be taught to both sexes, or not at all. Swordland's youth must be technically skilled and capable for the next decade. That won't be possible with the amount of nationalistic indoctrination and narrow-minded thinking found in schools today. Either we raise a generation ready for the challenges of the future or not. What will it be, Mr. President? I mean, we're going to reform it, but let's check in with Lucian. Lucian, what do you think?
As much as I respect Colonel Saul, his time has passed. Now is our time. I do think this might be a first step of a larger plan.
Cool beans. Well, cool. Do it, I guess?
You'll not rig it. I'll get to work immediately.
I'm just going to assume that I started to say the word reform and she immediately cut me off. That makes more sense.
Now that the decision is made, let's move on.
Very well. Sarah skimmed over her documents before continuing.
After the budget increase, the ministry quickly began formulating plans on how to effectively use the money. But before moving forward, the question of keeping education fully state-funded or allowed for new private schools remains open.
Education should remain as a state service only. Certainly, this is the most ideal situation.
I agree. The government should be responsible for managing education completely.
Private education is inconsistent with our overall economic strategy for the planned economy.
A few minutes of deliberation passed.
We have enough money to improve education sorely. We do not need to complicate things further with privatization incentive. So, what's your decision?
Nah, we're just going to keep education solely a matter of the state. We need to prevent interference from private interests.
Will do. That should be it for now. I'll get back to work and report later.
This has been a very productive day. I'll be returning to Household.
Thank you for your time, everybody. We dispersed after spending nearly the entire day together. I took a moment to simply breathe the fresh, inviting air of Laren. If I felt calmer here somehow, but I would have to return to the chaos of Whole Sword soon enough. Ooh, yeah, alright. Let's see, let's check the overview first. Let's see, welfare, we've got education reform. And, modernized education techniques, that's pretty fantastic. I mean, it's 50s education techniques, so they're not that great still, but that's alright. Let's see here. So we got 3 newspapers, a couple reports. I'm already right here, so let's just start with the reports. From Whole Sword, Ministry of Education started work on education reform. Minister of Education Sarah Walda is reporting that she's begun working on the approved education reform. The details of the education reform will be finalized over the upcoming months. If the reform package is accepted, the next steps of this process will be to discuss the indoctrination of education. Cool. And the last one here, from Quintana Security Pact, United Quintana launches second satellite. In a significant technological milestone, United Quintana has successfully launched a second satellite capable of facilitating radio communications. This development catapults United Quintana to the forefront of space-based communication technology, enabling radio signals to be transmitted via satellite for the first time. No other nation currently possesses this advanced capability, marking a significant achievement for United Quintana. Coolio. Alright, we got 3 newspapers. Let's start with these guys. So, from the Whole Sword Post, Greater Whole Sword free of protests. This week, a decisive intervention by government forces and the police brought a conclusive end to the paralyzing protests in the Greater Whole Sword region. These actions, albeit necessary, left a tragic trail of casualties and had a profound effect on the economy. The protest leader from Conrad voiced the sentiments of many when he said, "We want peace for our brothers and sisters in Sorland. We don't want more repression." His heartfelt plea underscores the widening chasm between the authorities and the populace. Earlier, the day witnessed a large-scale operation where hundreds of riot police cleared protesters from northern Whole Sword, driving them into the surrounding streets. The question remains as to whether this forceful action will quell the rising tide of dissent or merely redirect it. From Lockhaven Times, Keebner, Rain is making a mistake. Head of Sorland's second opposition party and National Front Party, Kasara Keebner, said President Rain will not be able to keep ruling the country without addressing policies that have negatively affected our security, culture, and economy. He blamed President Rain for not being open to any discussions about proper reforms. Keebner also criticized the PFJP leader, Franz Richter, for supporting President Rain. The NFP cannot be part of this nonsensical collaboration anymore, as it has been transformed into an anti-nationalist committee, said Keebner. He also explained his concerns over how PFJP supported Alkazian imperialism and only cared about profit at the expense of Sorge people. Rain is making a mistake by working together with Richter, said Keebner, and criticized the committee for not discussing the real issues that surround Sorland. I mean, I don't really think not working with, racist nationalists is ever a bad idea. Let's see. From the Radical, demonstrators arrested. Tens of thousands of demonstrators were driven out from city centers by riot police during the week. According to ground sources, thousands have been detained. The government has still not declared the real numbers or the identities of the individuals. The government cracked down on the protests around the country was swift and brought an end to the chaos in major cities such as Whole Sword and Lockhaven. Reports from mayors around the country came in today saying that the protests are under control and stability will return. Cool. Alright. Well, let's come flying back across over here to Volgan. And looks like we're going to look at a Groony Rural Development investment. Let's see. So, the Groony Rural Development Investment is proposed by Rural Development Minister Gus Manger to bolster Sorland's rural economies and secure the nation's food sustainability. The plan envisages a judicious allocation of resources to vitalize agriculture communities, fortify food security, and elevate the regional economy of Groony. One potential strategy is the provision of subsidies for new farms, encouraging more players into the agricultural field. Alternatively, Manger proposes investment in the mechanization of existing farms to improve productivity or the initiation of crop research to foster better innovation. Okay, so this one's also tough because we're at -7 budget already. Let's see, I think if I remember right from before, like, unless it's changed since this update, but I think we're safe up to -8 budget. think if we go further than that, that's when the trade war hits. So, provided that's true, then that means we definitely can't add in any subsidies for new farms. So our only options are either to not fund anything, which also sounds like a bad idea, or new crop research, or mechanization. I'm not sure if it really makes a difference, so I'm going to go with new crop research. And let's just hope the new update didn't tweak the trade war requirements. So yeah, let's go with that. Let's hope for the best here. Alright, so we got one government update. Economy. Investment Groony, fantastic. Oops, let's close that. And then we got one newspaper from the Wholesale Post, Government Investment and Crop Research. The government's decision to invest in crop research as part of the Groony Rural Development Investment Plan is a heartening sign of commitment to our agricultural sector. By fostering innovation and improving our understanding of crop growth, this initiative has the potential to yield significant dividends for Groony's regional economy and our national food security. Go with that one because hopefully that sort of thing would help, come up with more weather-resistant crops and stuff. To give us better yields. There we go. I'm not a farmer. My farming knowledge is kind of sketchy. Alright, whatever. Anyway, let's go back to Whole Start here. Let's meet with Gloria and Tori. Man, things are just kind of flying along here today. I like it. Alright, I arrived at the Grand National Assembly, which is only a 5-minute drive away from the palace. Today, I had a private meeting with Gloria Tori, one of the leading figures of the ESP, to get her approval for the proposal. She was also key in reaching 150 signatures to propose the new constitution, as she had extensive control over our party's conservative and moderate wings. As I walked through the corridors of the Grand National Assembly, I was confronted by my memories of the historic building. Despite being a member of Assembly not long ago, it now felt like the distant past. I walked into the left wing of the Assembly, which currently acts as the quarters of the ESP. Gloria's office was the first one inside. I knocked on the door and entered. Good morning, Mrs. Tori.
Glad to see you here, Mr. Vane.
It was a small and neatly organized office. There were small figurines, photos, and plants around the place. It had a homey feel, unlike my own assembly office when I worked there. On her gesture, I took a seat. The chair was very uncomfortable. How are you doing, Mrs. Tori?
I'm fine, Mr. Vane. How are you?
I'm fine too, thank you.
Anyway, let's keep this simple, Mr. Vane. We both know why you are here. You want me to give you my support. I don't see why the backbone of the DSP would support your rush reforms. Don't you realize they go directly against the wishes of the founder of this party and the state?
The reforms are not against anyone. It's all in the name of democracy.
In the name of democracy? Even though you owe everything to Colonel Saul, I think you never liked him nor the party he built.
There's nothing personal about this, Mrs. Tori.
Whatever you intend to do, you will be facing quite the opposition. That's all I can say.
You must understand these reforms are a necessity. Let me explain.
How?
Let's see here. Let's go with this one. So we can try to appeal their vanity a little bit. The ESP is a party that knows how to react to changing times. We must lead the nation into the future.
That's for the party to decide, not you. I seriously do not know if the Conservatives would be willing to support you at all. Especially considering the fact that you're trying to change Member of Honor laws. This is clearly moving against President Saul. You want to punish him for the aggressive policies pursued in the past? Is that the intention here? You can't win this fight, Mr. President. Saul built this republic in the midst of blood and chaos. He demands respect.
Alright, well, I kind of feel like I might want to put him on trial, but we're gonna play to her. I have no intention of putting Colonel Saul on trial.
Then why are you taking away his title? Why striking against old man who's fought all his life for our country?
Member of Honor laws are unnecessary and undemocratic. This is not about Soul. The Soul is the only member of Honor. This is automatically about him. Look, I promise we won't touch him, but these ancient laws should be removed. Fine, let's talk about your other points. I must say that I like the changes regarding the appointment of ministers as one positive aspect, but moving on. It's unbelievable that you're taking away the immunity of justices, a big mistake. Even though the assembly is elected by the people, it does not hold enough traditional insight and neutrality to impeach justice. The separation of powers shouldn't be damaged. And this is something I cannot accept. I don't see anything democratic here, Mr. President. Can you? What I see is a bright future for Swordland. We need to be united. I continue to disagree. So, what do you think about it? Are you ready to make changes to propose, or should we keep talking past each other? That one I'm not going to touch. Mrs. Tory, please try to understand me. I cannot get concessions now. She raised an eyebrow and took a look at the proposal on her table. You know what? I feel extra generous today. I believe I can give you the help you require. She repositioned herself on the chair. Just don't forget, Mr. President. The Conservatives will be expecting a lot from you. Of course. Good. I can get you the signatures needed for the proposal. I'll talk to the other Conservatives. I hope there won't be any surprises, though, Mr. President. Well, what sort of surprises? We have to calculate every possibility, Mr. President. After all, this is Swordland. Of course, I can't guarantee that all the Conservatives of the party will vote for your constitution changes. I have serious reservations about privatizing healthcare or the Solar State Corporation. The support of my faction can change. I had no intentions of privatizing anything, so that's fine. That would depend to some extent on your policies, but the signatures at least are as good as gathered. Signatures aren't enough. We'll need all the votes from the ESP. Well, that's politics for you. She smiled. I'll do what I can. Before we finish, there's one thing I need to say. I am concerned about the oligarchs and the state of our economy. I'm worried that they may influence you for their own benefit. We expect you to succeed where Alfonso failed in resisting the siren call. If you stop privatizing healthcare or state-owned corporations, I doubt I can help you. Don't worry, that won't happen. Good. She stood up. I believe I've made myself clear. Thanks for stopping by, Mr. President. I hope you'll hold your promises. She extended her hand to me for a handshake. Once I shook her hand, she immediately sat back down. But now I need to go back to my duties. If you'll excuse me, Mr. President. Goodbye, Mr. Tory. Thank you. She only responded with a nod as I left the office. The Conservative side was handled, but to get to the 150 signatures I needed, I would still have to go deal with Albin Clavin and the Reformist wing. I went outside. Sir drove him back to the palace, where I met Lucy and told her about the progress I'd made with Gloria. Fantastic. Alright, that was much easier than I expected. Alright, we got 2 newspapers again, so let's check those out. Looks like they are both from Swordland Today. So we've got BFF warns Valen, Swordland, and Lesbia. In a startling announcement, spokespersons of the Bludish Freedom Front have released a statement condemning the governments of Swordland, Lesbia, and Valen for their mistreatment of Bludish citizens. The statement warns of potential action against these governments if they continue to ignore the will of the Bludish people. The BFF statement particularly targets the government of Valen, accusing President Viktor Smolak of planning to carry out a genocide against the Bludish people. These shocking allegations demand immediate attention and action from the international community to prevent such atrocities. It is high time for these governments to listen to the voices of their Bludish citizens and respect their rights and freedoms. Otherwise, militant groups like the BFF will take the lead and push the region into violence. I haven't seen that one before. I hope that's just new and not that I fucked something up. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. And the last one here, rain stops unrest. This week saw the decrease in protests surrounding the country and a complete stop in several cities, particularly the capital Holsord. Thanks to President Rain's approach to the crisis, Swordland is slowly returning back to stability, which will hopefully reflect positively on our economy too. Coolio. Alright. Ew, this is brand new. Alright. Let's go play chess with Lucian. Oh, I thought that was going to go into it. Nope, now we have to click into it again. Alright, an evening chess match with Lucian. Evening descended on the capital as Lucian and I found ourselves alone in my office. I followed my chief strategist's eyes to the chessboard on the coffee table. The sight of it reminded me of simpler times, of late-night strategy sessions turning into chess matches. We used to escape the political chaos into a world of rooks and bishops. Our battles were both tense and friendly, a reflection of our long history together. Lucian had always proved a challenging opponent. His strategy is both on the chessboard and in politics, had the same unpredictable edge. A soft knock interrupted my reminiscing. Olivia came in with our usual coffee. She noticed the chessboard and smiled.
Long nights of strategy planning, now a game of chess, but you never stop thinking, do you?
We might have to order dinner if this game takes as long as ones we used to play.
I'll keep the Maroon Palace shuffle on speed dial then. Have a good game, gentlemen.
She turned and left the room. Lucy acknowledged her exit with a slight nod, his eyes still fixed on the board.
I hope you remember it's not always the king who holds power. Sometimes a well-placed pawn can change the game.
I mean, to be fair, the king is kind of useless in chess. Let's go with that one, though. Power dynamics of chessboard can teach us a lot about politics. Wouldn't you agree, Lucian?
Absolutely. Playing chess with politicians will tell you more about their goals and plans than any speech.
As Lucian positioned the pieces on the chessboard, it stirred memories of our early days in the United Swordman Party. His dexterous maneuvering reflected the unseen orchestration that helped Pater and me ascend through the ranks. As the final piece was set into position, the board transformed into a silent battlefield. So, should we get this game underway, Lucian?
Indeed, President Rain, a game of chess is exactly what we need. Well, which color do you prefer, black as usual or white this time?
I'll take white.
The honor of the first move. A fine choice, but fitting of your drive to lead. First move is yours, sir.
With the sides chosen, Lucian sat back, his fingers laced together in contemplation. Thus the game began. The opening decision was mine. Well, alright. So I actually pulled up a little guide for this one because, yeah, I want to make sure we win this. So, let's see, we're going to go with the King's Gambit. I moved my pawn to e4, and Lucian responded with e5. Then I boldly advanced my f-pawn, signifying the King's Gambit.
The King's Gambit, Mr. Rain. A daring opening that promises an exciting game.
The King's Gambit always guarantees an engaging game, Lucian. I'm looking forward to your response.
So am I, Mr. President. Your move.
Lucian responded to my King's Gambit with a cautious but smart move, advancing his knight to f6. This was the Falkbear counter gambit, directly attacking my e4 pawn while leaving my f4 pawn hanging. I see you are one to back down from challenges, Lucian. Very well.
It wouldn't be much of a game if I did, now would it, Mr. Rain?
I moved my knight to f3, defending my threatened e4 pawn, whilst preparing to castle on the next move. With this, the stage is set. The opening maneuvers are transformed into a mid-game battle of wits. Each pawn push, every subtle repositioning, have been a testament to Lucian's strategic prowess and my resilience. The next move would prove crucial. Lucian's queen cut a path through the heart of the board, menacing my vulnerable kingside. The stakes were sky high. A bold pawn advance could release my rook's potential and threaten Lucian's knight. On the other hand, I could gamble with a Romish gambit, a risky play that could wrest control of the center away from him. I'm going to unleash the rook. With bold stride, I advanced my pawn, ripping open the f-file. The next move took a knight from Lucian. That knight of yours, a daring sacrifice, Lucian.
A sacrifice indeed, but what I'm willing to make.
Lucian moved his rook from the corner, adding pressure on my exposed bishop. Lucian made a bold move, pushing his pawn forward and pushing my bishop into a vulnerable position. While the urge to secure my threatened bishop was strong, an enticing opportunity also lay before me, a potential double attack on Lucian's king and rook. So let's go with the Rizian fork? I maneuvered my knight expertly, landing on a square that posed a double threat to Lucian's king and rook.
A daring maneuver under fighter pressure. You're an adept tactician. This is far from over.
In response to my knight's threat, Lucian moved out of the threat, creating a barrier between my knight and his king. Only through fire do we ignore the nature of the material. Let's see. Then I guess we want to exploit back rank. I moved my rook to the last rank, threatening Lucian's king with a potential back rank checkmate.
Clever present reign, but did you consider all the consequences?
The center was congested, a testament to Lucian's unyielding style. His formation was formidable as pieces interlocked in a matrix of support, each protecting the other while simultaneously projecting threats across the board. It was my move, and the game had entered the final stages. Lucian's queen was uncomfortably close, radiating danger. I had only a few paths before me. Lucian's king stood vulnerable, but a risky move could leave my own king exposed. However, seizing the opportunity seemed worth the risk. Yeah, let's go for the risk. I boldly moved my queen, placing it in a position that exposed Lucian's king to potential checkmate.
A daring choice, President. It seems the end is near.
If Lucian overlooked the threat I posed, victory would be mine. If he identified the trap, the game would stretch on, but the advantage would be mine.
Well played, but it's not over yet.
Lucian, caught in my trap, tried to navigate his king out of the danger zone. Despite Lucian's attempt to wriggle out, his king was trapped. My queen delivered the final blow, spelling a checkmate. The game was over, and I had won. Checkmate, my friend. It was a well-fought battle.
I see no way out. Well done, Mr. President. You've earned this victory. We learn more from our mistakes.
Lucian and I slowly began to dismantle the chessboard, each piece carefully placed back in its protective casing. Lucian's eyes bore a far-off look. Perhaps he was replaying the match within his mind. He picked up a knight and turned it over in his hand thoughtfully.
A difficult game, chess. The constant threats and counter-threats take me back to some similarly challenging times.
Threats and counter-threats? Man, your past seems a lot more interesting than mine.
We all have our past, Mr. President.
I mean, he does have that sweet-ass scar on his cheek, so...
Mine happened to involve many moves and counter-moves, each with its own consequences.
Were these consequences part of the Old Kingdom's final years, Lucian?
Yes, Mr. President. Those are trying times for Solomon. And like many others, I was caught in the crossfire of those tumultuous years.
A shadow seemed to pass over Lucian's eyes, a hint of the turmoil that still lingered in his memory. Caught in the crossfire. Were you in the military?
It is not my intent to withhold information from you, but I believe we should focus on the future Solomon and leave its history where it belongs. On that note, it's time for me to depart. I thoroughly enjoyed our match tonight, Mr. President.
Indeed, the game was a great pleasure, Lucian. Safe travels home.
Win or lose, there's always something to be learned from a round of chess. Good night, Mr. President.
As Lucian exited the room, the memories of our game lingered, as did the enigmatic aura of the man himself. No kidding, they just add some extra layers of intrigued old Lucian there. I like it. Fantastic. And on that pretty interesting little note, I think it's as good a time as any to call for today. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see y'all next time.